Okay, we're going to jump right into some lead playing now. Still down in the first position in the key of E, I'm going to show you a first position E blues box. This is the famous pentatonic blues scale that you've heard about, and pentatonic just means 5 tones, 5 notes. We're actually going to be playing more than 5 notes. If you did the bare blues scale, it would sound something like this. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 notes, and then it starts repeating, and so on. But sometimes you'll play other in-between notes, as well as just those 5. And the whole purpose of a scale is just to get you playing melodies and licks, and we're not really strictly adhering to any one to this particular scale. So right away you can play. Well, we can get you pretty soon playing the melody to "Every Day I Have the Blues" using this pentatonic scale. But before we do that, let's look at a couple of details. You can bend some of the notes by stretching the strings in this scale, and bending notes, of course, is a real important part of blues guitar playing. It's not going to sound like blues unless you do that. Part of the reason is that you're imitating the human voice and by sliding up and bending up to notes, and you really make the guitar sing that way. On the first string, you can bend that 3rd fret note up, and on the 2nd string, same place, and the 3rd string at the 2nd fret is a real good bending place. And you can do the 3rd and 2nd strings together. Also down here on the bottom string, you can bend that note. Now when you're bending notes, there's a lot of different ways to control it. You can bend it and then sort of mute it with your right hand so that it stops when it's up at the top, like that. Or you can bend it and have it come down all the way. You can go up and down as much as you want. And you can also start with the note bent before you play it and come down like that. And so you have to, every time you bend a note, you have to totally control it and be in charge of where it's going. Another thing that we'll do sometimes in the blues is sustain a note with a vibrato technique. For instance, if you play this A note here on the 3rd string, you keep fretting the string and wiggle your hand around to get this kind of sustain. What you're really doing is slightly stretching the string up and down a little bit and just barely changing its pitch. And later on we'll try doing that while bending the string, which is a harder technique. But you have to use pretty much your whole arm and your wrist to get this kind of vibrato. Okay, now Every Day I Have the Blues, you can pretty much express the melody to the tune with only 3 or 4 or 5 notes. I'm going to start on the 3rd string and go. Okay, now when a soloist is improvising around a tune, of course, they don't just play the melody straight like that. They can play stuff that's totally unrelated to the melody sometimes. But to learn these scales and to learn how to use these positions well, besides learning licks, it's really important to learn some melodies so that you've got a melody up here in your head and then you're playing it down here on the guitar instead of kind of letting the licks and the scales do the playing for you. I think one of the main goals on any instrument is when you hear something up here to be able to do it down here. So make sure that your melody to "Every Day I Have the Blues" sounds like your singing version of it. Every day I have the blues. Do-do-do, do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. That scat singing thing that George Benson and lots of other players do, where you play the melody at the same time you're singing it, is a real good exercise for learning these scales. Later on, we're going to have some lead solos on some of these tunes where you take off and get completely far away from the melody. But right now I want to use this blues scale to do a couple other melodies. One, let's take the old blues tune, Baby Please Don't Go, that just about every country blues player has done a version of. We can play the melody using the blues scale, but this time we're kind of on the higher part of it. We're going, well, first the tune is, baby, please don't go. Baby, please don't go. Baby, please don't go back to New Orleans, 'cause I love you so. Baby, please don't go. So to play that up on the top, you go. Now right at the beginning there, when you have the sustain on this open string, I'm gonna, instead of doing that, I'm gonna slide up to the same note up here. Baby, please don't go. Baby, please don't go back to New Orleans, because I love you so. One more time. All right, that's another, I've written these things out in your little tab book that comes with this video, and I want you to make sure that you know how to use this E blues scale to play these tunes. The third one we're going to do is one of the most famous blues tunes, Stormy Monday. And the melody to Stormy Monday is something like this. They call it Stormy Monday, but Tuesday's just as bad. They call it Stormy Monday, but Tuesday's just as bad. Wednesday's worse, Thursday's also sad. So the tune, by the way, that's associated with T-Bone Walker. He was the first one to have a hit on it. So you can do the melody to Stormy Monday pretty much using the same notes in this little blues box that you did on Every Day I Have the Blues. It's like this. And then it repeats the phrase, they call it Stormy Monday, but Tuesday's just as bad. Wednesday's worse, and Thursday's also sad.